Have you ever had the feeling that you were either being stalked or watched? According to victimsofcrime.org, 7.5 million people are stalked per year in the US alone. When something feels off, it is Abraham Hicks. And according to Boston.com, a woman from Maine was stalked via usage of a drone, but the police were unable to help her. From the 1970s to the 1980s, kidnapping was at its highest peak. Kidnapping is abducting without consent. Because of my experience with a stalker, I have learned I and many others need to start checking our surroundings before we go places. My boyfriend Mark and I were on our way from Stacyville, where he lived at that time, to St. Ansgar, where my car was parked. We were taking a right at a stop sign while a truck was taking the left at the stop sign, so he easily could have went without us hitting each other. However, we noticed that even while we were making the turn, the truck just sat there. I noticed at this time that he had tinted windows, but we didn't think anything of it because a lot of vehicles have tinted windows. So seemingly we were driving on this road alone. There were no cars that were turning on with us. However, what we didn't know is that the truck had made a U-turn in Stacyville and was now following us to St. Ansgar. We got to my car, seemingly safe and sound. I unlocked it, but then Mark continued to drive by, so I quickly locked it again. I thought he maybe just wanted to go for a little bit of a drive, but he told me that the truck behind us was the one from Stacyville. It was even more strange because he kept following us even after that, and we were making plenty of turns and going through plenty of alleyways, yet he continued to follow us. This had been going on for a good 30 minutes before we finally decided to call our parents to see what we should do. I called my dad because I was out past curfew, but my mom was in Sioux Falls, so they didn't know what was happening. I told my dad my excuse as to why I was not there, and he, along with Mark's dad, said that we should call the police. So we stopped at Casey's to see what this man would do. We parked next to the gas pump, and he parked further away. He sat and waited for us. He didn't get out of his vehicle, and he didn't budge a bit. So I decided to call the police then and there. I was very nervous because this was the first time calling the police for me. But Mark continued to drive slowly, and the truck continued to follow us. I didn't know what the policeman needed, but he asked me for the license plate number. We could not get close enough to the truck to see the license plate number. All I had known was this truck was from Idaho. So he asked for us to try to get it. So we went back to Casey's again, where the policeman would meet up with us. At this time, the truck parked at Casey's and the man got out. So I quickly wrote down the number of the license plate. Perfect timing because the policeman pulled in right then. So we parked up next to him and I gave him the number and I pointed to the truck, telling him that that was the truck. However, right then, the man got into the truck and left. So the policeman told us to find some place to stay until Mark's dad got there. So we went to his brother's house who lived in St. Ansgar. His father came and we went to my car and checked it. There was nobody in my car or around it, so I got in. However, I was nervous to drive alone. So Mark and his father followed me back to my house in Northwood. I was very nervous to do so, but luckily there was nobody behind us and they got home safe as well. Ever since this day, I have been very cautious. No matter how long I might leave my car, I lock it. I can be gone from it for 5 minutes, I can be right next to it, but I still will lock it. Because of what happened in my experience with my stalker, I have learned I and many others need to start being more cautious when going places. Who knows what could have happened if Mark did not realize that this truck was the same truck from Stacyville and he was following us. So, will you start checking your surroundings when you go to an unknown place?